For decades, researchers have measured adult education by counting how many people sat in a classroom. This chart shows the standard output of those surveys. They ask a binary question: did you participate in a class over the last year? And tally the yes or no answers into aggregate columns. But today's learning environment is adaptable. Adults acquire skills through digital platforms and decentralized networks that rarely fit into a traditional schooling model. To account for this, we must update our measurement instruments. This tutorial executes a 4-step blueprint to transform a basic questionnaire into a rigorous survey. This process is designed to capture the specific reasons why people learn and identify the intensity of their engagement, ensuring that even those outside traditional systems are counted. Step 1 is abandoning rigid checkboxes. We have to stop forcing respondents to classify their learning as strictly formal education or informal learning. This overlapping icon illustrates the contemporary landscape. Digital platforms and micro-credentials blur these boundaries, creating learning experiences that share traits of both structured schooling and independent study. To capture this, rewrite your classification questions. Instead of forcing a binary choice, use a continuous slider. This allows learners to report their experiences more accurately. If completing a structured online course without a degree, they can place their answer between formal and informal categories. Utilizing a continuum prevents the data loss that occurs when respondents are forced to fit modern habits into outdated boxes. Step 2 requires auditing your survey draft using the total survey error framework. A common structural flaw in standard surveys is the reporting timeframe. Relying on a 12-month recall period creates inaccuracies, as respondents often forget the timing of brief or occasional learning activities. You will also find ambiguous phrasing. Different populations interpret broad terms like training or education in vastly different ways based on their individual backgrounds. To fix this, conduct qualitative interviews with a small sample group. Test how they interpret your phrasing, then replace vague terms with concrete, specific variables before scaling the survey. Eliminating these inconsistencies ensures your data is comparable across different studies and establishes a more reliable evidence base for policy decisions. Step 3 expands the survey to measure the depth of learner participation. Integrating Kelty's 7 dimensions of participation allows you to capture how learners actually interact with their environment. You can measure voice, for instance, by asking respondents to rate their ability to influence the direction of their coursework and their level of control over the learning process. Next, integrate the MSSP Lifelong Learning Scale. This module identifies intrinsic motivation and the specific skill development needs of the learner. Capturing these variables reveals the drivers behind attendance, identifying which elements of a program actually sustain interest and improve retention. The final step is implementing inclusive data collection methods specifically for hard-to-reach demographics. Text-heavy questionnaires create an immediate barrier for adults with lower literacy levels or language constraints, often leading them to abandon the survey. To solve this, deploy the card sorting method. This physical or digital exercise gathers complex information without causing cognitive overload. Participants sort cards bearing simple icons representing different barriers or motivations into applies to me and does not apply categories. This approach reduces interview duration and gives the participant psychological ownership over their responses. Inclusive collection is the only way to prevent the systematic underrepresentation of marginalized groups in national datasets. You now have a complete blueprint. By integrating continuum variables, auditing for error, and utilizing dimensional metrics, you have updated your measurement tool. This shifts the result from a simple bar chart to a multi-layered data dashboard. This instrument generates the granular, contextual variables needed to understand the specific barriers and drivers that shape how different populations engage with education. Take your updated survey draft and run a small pilot test, focusing specifically on the card sorting module.